Hey guys, how you guys doing? Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. I pray you guys having a great night. I'm here reading a little bit tonight. We're gonna read here, being and becoming. Being and becoming, and it states here: to be in good health for the Bantu is to be in possession of a sufficient amount of ngolo, energy, body, electricity, in the body for the betterment of its functioning. It is to be in total harmony not only with the global unit of the social body of the community, but also with the wholeness of the universe, because the human being is only a kengele, a tiny element, an electron. It says here, in the Bungila Kia Makengele, body of tiny electrons and elements, on the contrary, to be sick is to lose one's ngolo, power, energy. In other words, to be sick is to leave the dingo dingo wheel of life. For the Bantu people, especially the Bakongo, sickness is a state of motion and of body energy. It is the motion of an abnormal flow of the body energy, the abnormal functioning capacity of an individual self healing power. Therefore, to be sick is to feel that motion of the abnormal flow of the body energy and decrease of individual self healing power. It is to run out of the path of Zinga, living, the normal balance of self healing. It is a warning sign and a call for the Ndikitisi, the power generator, i.e., the healer or the therapist. Sickness is also a state of body electron regression that can affect the Ngundu or Ngindu, the psyche, and or the Nitu, Soma. This body functioning power diminution is often caused, according to the African people, not by bacteria or by virus, but by the loss of the body's balance or energy. The human healing power launches an attack against this unbalance or imbalance. Then the disease becomes evident when the individual self healing power becomes unable to produce enough energy and radiation of its own to control stress. Unhappiness and tension is unable to neutralize incoming, known and unknown, waves and radiation. The whole person becomes sick. This is the Kimbeve or the Kimbevo Kia Nginitu, the disease that affects the whole person, body, mind, as shown. You guys won't be able to see the graph because you can't see what I'm seeing. The healer has a tendency to recognize diseases in the three groups shown in the figure, especially in the non-African healing system. The traditional African healer sees many things as affecting the whole person and the social body in which the individual belongs. As such, a cure must be perceived in its wholeness, for the mind is not separated from the body, nor the body from the mind. When people seek out a therapist, they do not see their state of health in terms of what kind of genetic package was passed on to them. What are their actual eating, drinking, smoking, and drug habits, and what conditions were they conceived or developed in their mother's womb? Was the inner environment safe or polluted? They have no background notion about their biogenetic ropes. Some do not even know their biological parents, a situation frequent in the Western world. They just run nakedly to the therapist. Very often, the therapist will just group in the dark trying to solve the problem of to the best of his or her knowledge. But often the core of the problem remains untouched because of a lack of understanding of what is said here on both sides. Our poor patient will continue to move from one therapist to another, spending money, time, and energy with his or her state of health going from bad to worse. In such circumstances, one asks oneself, then is there is there what then is therapy? This question will introduce us to the second part of this study, where we will discuss therapy, the therapist, and the patient from an African point of view in the Bantu tradition. Here we go. Part 2. Because of the complexity of the field, it is not easy to define therapy from a Western point of view. I would prefer to define it in this work from an African point of view, a point of view of the world of undocumentation. I must mention here 3 points as common ground in the process of understanding therapy as a field of healing knowledge in both the African and Western world. And it says here, A, therapy is an art. B, therapy is a very old art. C, therapy deals with health. According to these 3 points above, one may attempt to define therapy in 4 words. The art of healing, English, and 3 words, Kinkete Kia Niakisa, Kikongo, or in 4 words again, La Degeri, that's French, I can't even pronounce that. This can be a very fine and sound definition. It is clear and short, but I would prefer to define it in terms of the Bantu concept as Kinkete Mu Dikitisa Ngolo, Kikongo, and the art of regeneration power, which is in English. According to the Bantu experience among the Congo and their system of education, one must speak or regenerating and power to convey the deepest meaning of therapy. The art of healing, these key words already evoke a sophisticated mechanical notion which involves a source of energy, the regeneration power, a battery, and a receiver. We will come back to this point later. Okay, and it says, how is therapy performed? There's a great difference in professional deontology between African and Western schools of therapy due to differences of their world views and social systems. We do not have the space here to discuss where they overlap or the similarities of their futures. The world view. The African sees the world as a unified world where every action is understood in terms of collective effort. Everything is shared collectively in the process of life and change. The individual, the living son, one in the collection of the community's son. It's understood as being sick when he or she runs out of the wheel of the community's son. We're going to reread that again because I know I confused you guys. The African sees his world as a unified world where every action is understood in terms of collective effort. Everything is shared collectively in the process of life and change. The individual, the living son, that's the individual, the living son, is understood as being sick when she runs out of the wheel of the community's sons. His world is basically a humanistic world. He believes that things exist that human knowledge cannot explain. The Westerner, on the contrary, sees his world as a divided and competitive. People are seen as separated and titles, whose actions are their own. The Westerner believes that people fail to succeed because they are unfit. His world is basically a mechanical world, where nothing can be explained apart from his tools. Social systems. Africans live in a collective system with close family ties. The land, the source of everything to sustain life, is a collective ownership. The Westerner, on the contrary, lives in a very individualistic system where family ties are easily broken. Everything is individual, owned. Even children between parents are objects of controversy. The detail above can tell under what conditions each therapist performs his art. The African therapist conducts therapy publicly outside or inside the house, but always in the presence of family members and close friends. The Westerner's therapist talks of private sessions. An African therapist will not use the word private in any situation related to health, for the individual is not an isolated thing. He is like a spoke in a social wheel. To heal an individual is to heal the whole wheel, the whole society, and vice versa. The African therapist takes time with his patient, becoming one with him within the social wheel. The Western therapist is in a rush. He does not have anything to share with the patient. From time to time, he glances at the clock. The African does not worry about time, for his main concern is the patient with whom he shares the pain. Therapy in Africa, an African context, can take the form of debate, controversial, play, ritual, cooking party, dance, war game, trips, weaving, running, bathing or washing hands ceremony, working with clay pottery, message, meditation, singing, drumming, storytelling, laughter, play, touching, writing, inhalation, or hypnotism, and iconographical. And then it gives you running is healing, sitting is healing. Whoever alone, However, alone or together runs or sits heals. Touching is healing, smiling is healing. However, alone or together touches or smiles heal. Laughing is healing, crying is healing. However, alone or together laughs or cries heals. Singing is healing, dancing is healing. However, alone or together, signs or dances heal. Drumming is a healing. Clapping is a healing. However, alone or together, drums or claps heal. Coming is healing. Leaving is healing. However, alone or together, comes or leaves heals. What else heals? The African therapist believes that the therapy is essentially grounded in both flesh and spirit. Healing wounds of the flesh is only half healing. Furthermore, healing spiritual wounds, restoring individual smile and laughter, social ties, and trust in the individual. Self-confidence and the normal flow of one's energy is whole healing. It is regenerating power. The process of restoring partially or totally individual self-healing power. It is allowing the body not only to listen to the harmonious songs of the universe, but to join the singers of that cosmic music of life and balance. In addition to the forms cited above, therapy, the African healer believes, can take many other forms and take place anywhere. Most great healing is realized when unexpected. It can occur on the street, on a train, in the field, or in a movie house, in a restaurant, and all through what we hear, see, taste, touch, or feel, or even word from someone met by chance. A suggestion made by a friend or a stranger, perhaps a therapist or a physician, or who does not want to reveal his identity, can entirely change someone's life, and his individual self-healing power will be completely restored. Therapy is the attempt to understand all hinges of the body-mind, which make the human being a whole being. Its main objective is to regenerate the power of the whole being when these parts fall apart. Therapy is the art that helps to keep the psyche and the soma, the nitu. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam,